Hi, I am Water Willie. You may be wondering where you would have seen me before. Well, if you can't guess, let me show you. I form part of DOWASCO's logo, and today I am here to tell you what it takes to get potable water to your home and how my friends at DOWASCO make it all happen. First, let us take a look at what is water.
Water is a chemical compound with the chemical formula H2O. This means that a water molecule contains one oxygen and two hydrogen atoms. Water covers 71% of the Earth's surface and is vital for all known forms of life. We use water for many different activities. But where does water come from? And how do we get ready to access it? Here in Dominica, the Dominica Water and Sewage Company Limited, DOWASCO, plays an important role in bringing water to our homes, offices, and communities. It takes quite a lot of effort to do so. So let's begin our journey of finding out how DOWASCO provides potable water. All begins with a process in nature called the water cycle. The water cycle is a continuous cycle where water evaporates from the surface of the earth, travels into the air, and becomes part of a cloud. Then it falls down to the earth as rain, and then evaporates again. This repeats again and again in a never-ending cycle. Water keeps moving and changing from a solid to a liquid to a gas over and over again. The exact amount of water present on Earth today has been here for millions of years. Not a drop more or a drop less. It is quite possible that the same water which was used 20 years ago is the same water that you drank today. Surprised? Don't be. The water cycle helps to constantly purify water, which can be used over and over again. When it rains deep in the forest, the water enters what we refer to as the water table. The water table, also called groundwater table, is the upper level of an underground surface in which the soil and rocks are permanently saturated with water. The water table separates the groundwater zone that lies below it from the capillary fringe or zone of aeration that lies above it. The water table fluctuates both between the seasons and from year to year because it is affected by the climatic variations and by the amount of rainwater used by vegetation. The water from the water table in the forest emerges as springs and forms rivers. It is areas such as these that DOWASCO designates as water catchment areas. Water catchment areas are very important to the process of providing water to our homes and communities. Therefore, it is very important that we protect these areas and do not allow them to be destroyed. When the water leaves the catchment area, it is directed to an area designed to collect water for supply to our homes. This is called an intake. By the time the water enters the intake, it has gathered pollutants such as debris and bacteria, which can be harmful to the human body if it is consumed. Therefore, a process of water treatment commences after the water leaves the intake. The first part of the water treatment journey takes the water from the intake to the process of sedimentation.
At the inlet, so this is where the water enters the sedimentation tank. You would see even at the design, the water enters the chamber through perforations, thus preventing leaves and twigs and so from entering too. But there would still be sediments entering. It will go through the process, that is traveling and allowing the sediments to settle, and then it would exit at the top here.
Sedimentation is the settling of suspended solid particles in a liquid under the influence of gravity. This means that during the process of sedimentation, most of the debris such as leaves and sand which may have contaminated the water is removed. However, pollutants such as bacteria remain, and so it is necessary to put the water through another process called filtration in order to begin to get rid of harmful bacteria. So after filtration, the water goes through a further treatment process known as chlorination.
This is a 150 pound chlorine cylinder. It contains 150 pounds of chlorine gas, which is used to treat the water or chlorinate the water if you will.
Chlorination ensures that all harmful bacteria is destroyed before water can be supplied for consumption.
This system here feeds at 12 pounds of chlorine per day, which actually means that we deliver to this system 12 pounds of chlorine in 24 hours. We set the tube as to how much chlorine we want to release. In that case, we release 12 pounds. It follows this black hose, and we pipe it through to our injection point. So if you continue following the black hose, you will see that it releases the chlorine into the water, and the chlorine gets dissolved, and that's how we chlorinate the system.
When water is chlorinated, it maintains a residue which ensures that the water remains potable right up to the moment that it is consumed.
And that pipe you can see is the pipe that takes the chlorinated water down to the storage tanks and distribute it to our customers. This one is a direct feeder. As I said, it feeds directly from the cylinder. So it uses the pressure of the gas in the cylinder to operate. We use these ones in very remote areas.
At DOWASCO, chlorine is applied to water mainly in two forms: gas and tablets.
This is the regulator. So we have two regulators because it is a switchover system, meaning when one cylinder is empty, it will automatically move to the next, preventing any shutdown and shortage of chlorination in that system.
There are several other methods of water treatment which can effectively destroy harmful bacteria, including boiling or the use of UV rays. But chlorination is preferred because it is a less expensive and more effective method to treat large amounts of water.
This is called an injector or a venturi. It is actually used to soak in the chlorine. So, as opposed to the one we initially looked at, which we said is direct, it uses the pressure from the cylinder. This one uses water pressure. So the water would flow through it and it would create what we call a vacuum, and that vacuum would suck in the chlorine. This is the same similar type red tube, just that the other one was mounted on the regulator as opposed to this one is wall mounted. It does the same thing. It sets the amount of chlorine that goes out in a day. So for instance, if you look at the bowl, you will see it is slightly jumping between 60 and 65. So we basically give between 60 and 65 pounds of chlorine gas to this system, the Antrim system, WA1 system.
Chlorination is also a requirement of the World Health Organization, which ensures that water is fit for human consumption.
We stand at a moment of exceptional possibility. A moment when global health and development goals that long seemed unattainable have moved within our reach.
After chlorination, the water is placed in large storage tanks, which are necessary to ensure a constant supply of water. The capacity of a storage tank is based on the demand of the community that it has to supply with water. The capacity of storage tanks in Dominica can range from 30,000 imperial gallons to the largest holding 1 million gallons of water.
These are, as you can see, it's very white and milky. That is really actually the reaction of the water mixing with the air, and because the water is pressurized and the vigor at which it moves, it turns the air present in the water into tiny, very tiny microscopic bubbles. If you observe, you would see them moving to the surface and forming bigger bubbles. So there's that notion that people, when they see water milky and white, they associate it with chlorine. That has nothing to do with chlorine, really. It only has to do with air particles being present in the water and the velocity of the water causing it to turn into very, very tiny bubbles.
Water leaves the storage tank through distribution pipelines and is supplied to our homes and offices for use. We use water for many different things, and we sometimes waste it, not realizing the process of providing water to our homes and communities is a difficult and expensive one. Let us all play our part in conserving water so that future generations can enjoy the many benefits of access to clean water.